The sun has not yet crested the horizon, but the world is beginning to stir. The air is still, carrying only the gentle whisper of the wind as it combs through the tall grasses. This is a land shaped by time and the elements, a sprawling canvas of untamed beauty. It is here that we find them. They emerge from the shadows like apparitions, a herd of wild horses. They are not merely animals, they are the very embodiment of this untamed spirit. A young foal, still leggy and uncertain, nuzzles against its mother's side, seeking comfort and warmth. The lead stallion, a magnificent creature, stands slightly apart from the rest. His ears twitch, catching every subtle sound. He is attuned to this world in a way we can only imagine. Then, as if guided by a single silent command, they move. It starts as a trot, a rhythmic, bouncing gait that seems almost effortless. Their manes and tails lift and dance with each step. Then, the trot escalates into a full, unrestrained gallop. This is where their true power is unleashed. Hooves strike the earth with a thunderous cadence, kicking up dust that catches the sunlight. They run not as individuals but as one unified entity, their bodies moving in perfect synchrony. At the heart of this family is the lead mare, often one of the oldest and most experienced females. It is she who decides when and where they will move, leading them to the best grazing grounds. Mares often form strong, lifelong friendships, engaging in mutual grooming. They act as collective aunts to the foals, keeping a watchful eye on the youngsters as they play. This division of labor between the led mare and stallion creates a perfect partnership forged in the crucible of the wild. The horses begin to graze, their heads bowed to the bounty of the land. This is not mindless eating, it is a calculated search for the most nutritious plants. They move slowly, deliberately, as a cohesive unit. There is no rush, only a calm, methodical procession. They are in complete harmony with their surroundings, a living, breathing part of this intricate ecosystem. This is not just a search for food, it is a communion with the land that has shaped them. The life of a wild horse is one of perpetual motion, a constant journey dictated by the fundamental need for food. They are nomads in the truest sense, their lives governed by the seasonal availability of forage. To meet their energy needs, they must spend up to 16 hours a day grazing. Their movement across the land is guided by the lead mare's inherited knowledge. They do not overgraze any single area, allowing vegetation to recover and ensuring future food. In spring, food is abundant and horses build fat reserves. In summer, the plains are a verdant carpet. But as autumn gives way to winter, the landscape transforms. They use strong hooves to paw through snow, digging for dormant grasses beneath. During these lean periods, their survival skills are tested. This relentless quest shapes their being. In the arid landscapes many wild horses call home, water is more precious than the richest pasture. The lead mare carries the map to these vital oases in her memory. Approaching a waterhole, the stallion goes ahead to scout. Waterholes attract predators. They do not all drink at once. Some stand guard, heads up, ears swiveling. After drinking, foals splash playfully in the shallows while adults stand quietly, resting. The life of a wild horse is lived on a knife's edge. The natural world is an unforgiving place. Mountain lions, wolves, bears, they view the horses as food. The constant possibility of ambush creates deep-seated wariness. The environment itself presents formidable challenges. A sudden storm can unleash flash floods. A lightning strike can spark wildfire, forcing horses into desperate flight. Wild horses are far more than symbols of freedom, they are integral to the ecosystems they inhabit. As they selectively graze, they create space for a wider variety of plant species to flourish. This increases biodiversity, supporting insects, birds, and small mammals. The trails they create act as natural firebrakes, helping to slow wildfire spread. In winter, their hooves break through snow, exposing forage for deer and pronghorn. They are important seed dispersers, traveling vast distances and depositing seeds far from parent plants. They are gardeners of the plains, tending the health and vitality of their environment. There is something about the wild horse that speaks to a deep and ancient part of the human spirit. For millennia, these magnificent creatures have captivated our imagination, our art, our stories. They represent a freedom that many of us yearn for, a life lived without constraints. To watch them run is to feel a connection to something primal and untamed. It reminds us that despite our modern, structured lives, a part of us still belongs to the wild. The story of the wild horse is a powerful lesson in resilience, family, and adaptation. By observing their lives, we learn about the importance of social bonds. They are ambassadors for the wilderness, drawing our attention to vast and fragile landscapes. Their existence encourages us to step outside and appreciate the profound beauty around us. Inspiring protection begins with fostering this sense of wonder and connection. Perhaps the greatest peril comes from humanity's ever-expanding presence. Open spaces are shrinking, fences carve up ancestral territories and block migration routes to water. Competition with domestic livestock increases pressure on remaining habitat. This encroachment slowly erodes their world and challenges their right to exist. Recognizing their keystone role is critical. We all have a role to play in their protection. It can be as simple as learning about challenges facing wild horses and sharing that knowledge. It means advocating for policies that recognize their ecological value and ensure that they have the space they need to roam. The future of these magnificent animals depends on our ability to translate wonder into action, to become not just admirers from afar, but dedicated guardians of their legacy. The story of the wild horse is, in the end, the story of the wild itself. It is a narrative of resilience, beauty, and an unbreakable spirit. They are living monuments to a world rapidly vanishing. Their presence is not to be taken for granted. It is a precious gift, a reminder of our shared natural heritage. Protecting these natural nomads is a profound responsibility that asks us to look beyond immediate needs. It means choosing to preserve wild places where they and other species can live as they have for millennia. This is not just saving an animal, it is saving a piece of our soul drawn to untamed beauty. The future hangs in the balance, dependent on our actions. Will their hooves fall silent, or will we ensure their survival? The choice is ours. We must coexist, manage landscapes to leave room to roam. It requires compassion, foresight, and deep and abiding respect. Let us ensure this story does not end with us. Let us cherish them, protect them, ensure they run free for generations to come. Let us take a moment to appreciate these animals. Be inspired by their strength, their grace, their unwavering spirit. Listen to the story in a swish of tail, a beat of hooves. It is a story of freedom, family, and the enduring power of nature. The wild horse is a treasure, a living embodiment of the untamable spirit. Let us ensure they run free for generations to come.